Hi guys, Kat here. Welcome back to the Adventure Paradox. Today, not with horses. We are really talking about you, your adventure with your body, with how you feel about yourself, how you relate to others, specifically weight and or weight loss. Wait for it. I am interviewing a gal today whose handle is Weight Loss Doesn't Have to Suck. She actually has a podcast by the same name. I have the incredible Kimberly Severson before me, and I'm so excited to interview you. Oh my gosh, how are you today? And what is it that excites you about helping people with this handle that weight loss doesn't have to suck? Like, thank you.
Oh my gosh, Kat, thank you so much for having me. I'm delighted to be here. I'm amazing. Um, Everything about this excites me about this approach because you and I have talked about this before. I tried every diet under the sun my whole life, starting very early. And all those approaches sucked. All those approaches made me miserable. It was a lot of restrictive dieting, a lot of misery, and turning over my life to the hope of weight loss. And nothing ever really worked for me long term until I found the methods that I now teach that feel so much more like self-care than punishment. And so it's the more women that I can bring these approaches to, the better. That's what excites me about my work.
Mic drop right there that feels so much more like self-care than punishment.
Yeah.
Can we start right there? And full backstory here. I reached out to Kimberly because I was on my own weight loss journey. If you guys have been following along, you know I've lost 10 pounds in the last couple of months, but there was an aspect of it that was sucking, like literally soul sucking. It felt so restrictive. It didn't
Yeah.
feel sustainable. So although it was working, I was like, I know that there's a better way that feels more like self-care and nourishment and does not feel like punishment. I mean, what a word.
Yeah.
Your own journey to coming to this understanding. I know you have a personal story, and I was thinking a little bit as you were sharing earlier that it's like the classic mom comeback. Because so many of us, like we enter motherhood and we're like, yeah, this was everything I wanted. Or, we're gonna have maybe mixed feelings through the pregnancy or whatever it is. And then it's like, whoa, like this is it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And
Yeah.
all the things I thought it would be and all the things and here it is. And a lot of us go through this transition that I think more and more women are talking about. Thank God for the podcast world. We're really talking about it and
Yeah.
finding ourselves and finding the self-care and like nourishing each other through these stories. But a lot of that is coming from pain points of like emotional eating at night or
Oh, yeah.
these different struggles. Can you tell us your personal story of the mom comeback and also like this pivot to not being punishment but truly being self-care when it
Yeah.
comes to losing weight and getting back to a place where you feel like yourself?
Yeah. Well, as I started to say earlier, I started dieting. Gosh, I probably went on my first diet when I was 13, and
Mhm.
I have a daughter who's 11 and a half now. So that just breaks my heart to see how young they actually are at that age. But I always struggled with body image. I hit puberty, gained a ton of weight, and I really think that was such a, yeah, right? Who, like, so many among us have the same story. Um, but I know now how much that impacted my self-confidence, my body image, all of it, and just so painfully young to even be thinking about those sorts of things. So I had an aunt who was on Weight Watchers, and I remember she gave me all of the booklets and the little like spinny measurer thing at the time, and I started restricting calories and counting points and that only feels sustainable for so long. So I was on it and off it and on it and off it. And then you and I kind of laughed about being girls in the 90s growing up. And man, I tried everything from calorie restriction to juice cleanses to some kind of mystery diet pills that God knows where I got them and what was in them. And Weight Watchers 100 more times. And it was Atkins at the time, but then it became keto. I tried everything. And my weight fluctuated. There were times where I was thin. There was times where I was about maybe 10 pounds more than I wanted to be. And then life went on, and then I had children. I had my first daughter, gained some weight that I really would have liked to have lost, but couldn't. And then I had my son, and I gained a lot of weight, less so during pregnancy. I gained a healthy amount of weight during both of my pregnancies, but it was after his birth when, as you were saying, the realities of motherhood hit me.
Mm,
And I had left my job to be a stay-at-home mom, thinking that that was just going to be like this amazing, joyful experience. And in many ways it was, but in many ways it wasn't. I missed my career. I missed being able to use my brain in that way. As my son got older, when he turned, I think this started when he was about 2, he started having a lot of behavioral challenges. It was just constant, constant, constant tantrums. And I know all toddlers have tantrums, but this was sun up to sundown, just screaming. So my nervous system was shot. There was a lot of stuff going on. And I would put the kids to bed at night. And after going through this whole day of just overwhelm and intensity and frustration and feeling unfulfilled in many ways, rather than address those emotions or be with those emotions, I would just eat. I would just
mm,
eat. So I was about 40 pounds overweight at that point, still trying Weight Watchers, still trying calorie restriction. I tried a smoothie diet, like all the things. But now I had these 2 little kids hanging off me all the time. Like it was less sustainable than ever before. So I was about to give up. And I found a coach. I found a weight loss coach. I actually found her podcast first, consumed everything, just, dove into her methods. She actually became my mentor. She taught me a lot of what is now my approach. Um, but she taught me how to lose weight in a way that it's not dieting, it's not
mm,
restriction. You can eat what you want. And instead of any of the counting calories or tracking points or cutting out huge food groups, feeling deprived and restricted all the time, you just learn how to listen to your body.
mm.
Because your body's talking to you all the time. Like
Yes.
your body will tell you when it is ready for food, and your body will tell you when it's had just enough and you're good. But through dieting, through cultural conditioning, through all of this, we just forget how to listen. We are so tuned out. And I learned how to tune back in, and the weight came off pretty effortlessly. I also learned how to feel my feelings rather than eat them. I learned how to address these issues in my life that I was eating to escape. I learned how to stop being so impulsive around food, but none of that is like, let's take away all the food you love and leave you with nothing, right? I learned actual coping mechanisms in conjunction with learning how to listen to my body and honor its actual signals to me.
Oh, so good.
Yeah,
As you were talking about listening to your body, full on mic drop. Like, I just feel like we
yeah,
need a moment of silence.
let's do it.
Like, listen to your body as you, even
100%.
as you're listening to this conversation, right? Like, how is it landing for you? Because so often, and what I was thinking of as you were sharing that, and the funny thing when we were chatting earlier when I was doing sort of my, one-on-one session with you.
Yeah.
And I told you in high school, I got the Hollywood juice cleanse, right? It was
Yeah.
this, like box of just juices. And I remember it arrived and I was like, oh my God, I'm supposed to like just drink liquid for three to
Yeah.
six days? Like, is that really what celebrities are doing? Like, I'm hungry, you know what I mean? And we both laughed about it because they must have had great marketing for kids in the 90s, And I remember somehow I don't know if I snuck my mom's credit card or like asked her permission, but she didn't really know what I was getting, and just the deviousness around the disconnect in our culture. Like, are we listening to our bodies or are we listening to our culture? Right.
Yeah.
And my mom struggled with two different eating disorders, right? So there was
Mm.
a lot that more is caught than taught. She was in recovery, but I was secretive about my food and I was also secretive about my dieting, right?
Yeah.
And it took a lot of years. I remember when I owned a gym and was a weight loss coach, I remember coaching women, and this was in my 20s, before I had kids, before I was married, right?
Yeah.
And I would ask them, like, when did the weight come on? And they'd say, well, when I had my first child. I'd say, okay, well, when was that? And they'd say, well, the first one's 27 now. I
Okay. Oh
remember
my
being
gosh. Yeah.
like, oh, like and it happened so many times where sometimes it would be someone saying they're 7 months old or seven, but often they were 17 or in their 20s. And it was like,
Totally.
they were finally, the kids are out of the house, able to listen to their bodies instead of
Yeah.
listening to everyone else's bodies. And
Yeah.
so, something you touched on with the issues with your son and behavior is like your nervous system
Oh my gosh.
is jacked. And so let's
Yeah.
touch on that a bit because I feel like when we ask people to listen to their bodies, sometimes there's this noise, right? And it might not even be coming from the head. It might not even be coming from, oh, I know what other people say about my bodies or what my mom said or what the culture said growing up, whatever. It's like they might just be like, I'm so stressed,
Yep.
my child screaming at me that like I can't even hear anything. Like I don't
Yeah.
even know, it's like that out of body kind of situation, hence eating past the signals in
Yeah.
your body. So, can you touch on that and nervous system co-regulation, especially in relation to listening to your body?
100%. And I love that you brought all of that up because this is something that I explore both on my podcast and in one-on-one coaching with my clients is like, there's so many reasons why we're overeating. And it's not like a one size fits all anything. It's unique to every single person. And if you want to lose weight without dieting, we have to get to the root cause of what that is. And it can be your thoughts, and often it's a combination of these, but it can be like, I can't survive this urge. I just need to shut down this food noise right now. Maybe it's a thought, or maybe it's, this is how I connect with my husband. I was coaching someone around this. We like watch TV and we have snacks at night. So maybe it's a thought that's leading to the overeating. Maybe it's an emotion where I just remember that overwhelm felt so all encompassing. And I just wanted to shut it down with
Mm,
food. So maybe there's an emotion that you're eating to distract yourself from, or to escape from, or to feel something different finally. But it can also be, as you just beautifully mentioned, a nervous system dysregulation issue, which that was certainly like I had all of these going on at the time. But I was spending my day, especially with this little child screaming and screaming and screaming, and there was nothing that I could do to
mm,
soothe it
mm,
despite many efforts. My nervous system was in fight or flight all day, every day. I was dramatically sleep deprived at the time. And so spending the day in that like activated state, of course, I wanted something to ground me, something to bring me back into rest and digest, or even, feeling safe, feeling normal. And food is a great way to do that. I don't think this is a great long-term strategy, but if we're not conscious of it, this is why people overdrink. This is why people overshop. This is why they overscroll on Instagram. It's all to self-soothe, essentially. And when you think about food specifically, there's that act of chewing, which is like rhythmic and soothing. The food is often comforting. Of course, we turn to it when we're dysregulated, but long term, it's not actually helping us solve the problem. There's so many ways to regulate your nervous system that don't have negative consequences on the back end.
totally.
Yeah, because my negative, like none of my clothes fit, and I was crying in my closet before getting dressed for events, and I never wanted to be in the photo with my kids because I hated how I looked, and I just didn't feel as good in my body. Like I
Mm.
couldn't play with my kids the way I can now. And so, yeah, it was regulating my nervous system in the moment, but it was just giving me this whole host of negative consequences on the other side.
Totally. It's fascinating because I'm thinking about our kids and also social media, and the messaging I got was from magazines mostly,
Okay.
right? Like
Yeah.
I remember the
Same.
cutouts. I remember, we would like cut our heads out and place them on the body we wanted of Kate
Yeah.
Moss. Like,
Right.
I remember that. And then I remember recognizing I am never gonna have Kate Moss's body.
Well, I don't know that anyone really should when you
No,
think
no,
about
but
it.
but that's also
Yeah.
like I think for me, and this is my prayer for anybody listening,
Yeah.
learning to find your own beauty in your own body, like not,
100%.
and I was working with somebody recently who asked me, we're talking about podcasting and coaching, and she said, you're not going to try to make me another cat, right? Like, no, no, there's only one of me. I want you to be
Yeah.
you. I
Yeah.
want to help you be the most you can be. Like that's
Hmm.
why you're attracted to me is not to be me, it's to be you, right? Like
Yeah.
that's the best coaching partnership we could hope for, but also the best relationship with our own body is like to truly love. and be present to this body as it is, which is not the
Mhm.
same body we had right after kids. It's not the same
Right.
body we had when we were teenagers. Like, this is my 44-year-old body, and I am going to make the most of it today, right?
Yeah.
I feel like, so many people, and again, thinking about our kids, we're still getting all of this messaging. And right now, my phone knows and it's freaky, right? It knows that I'm working on weight loss. It's listening right
Oh,
now.
for
Big brother
sure.
is watching you all the time.
Yeah.
But the amount of messaging around, is your cortisol level jacked? You need this supplement. You know what I mean? And like,
Yeah.
you've got ways, you can't think. And it's fascinating because I feel like on some level, and I know studies have been shown, being on a screen activates all of this stuff. And
Yeah.
here you are taking in an ad on a screen. You know what I mean? It's a little bit like eating the Cheeto and being told like, numb out, numb
Yeah.
out. Cheetos are good for you. And you're like, what?
Right.
Like this
I
seems
know.
wrong. Don't they taste good? Let it fuzz on your tongue with the orange stuff, whatever. You know what I mean? Like it's so terrifying on some level that we are still doing this to ourselves, but the recipe has changed a little bit. You know what I mean? Like the
Mhm.
marketing that you're not good enough, that you could be better, also like the deep striving. And the other side of it is I'm so grateful because here we are, we can have this amazing conversation.
Yeah.
You can have a podcast out there where people can really hear you. And it's part of why I love podcasting so much and it's so powerful is that you can take this in and listen while you're on a walk,
Yeah.
while you're doing dishes, while you're meal prepping, while you're at the gym, like,
Mhm.
and take away all of the noise that comes through our
Yes.
brains when we're on a screen watching something, you know? So I feel like it's super powerful, it's super important, and also, given all of these things that we have going on, given that you're a mom of a young girl who's entering this age, they say on average, an 8-year-old knows what a diet is and has
Oh,
tried
yeah.
it. Like,
Yeah.
what would you say to moms or people who are struggling with screens and the messages our culture is sending out right now with all this extra information that we have about losing weight?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's really challenging because there's so much noise online and so much of it is contradictory too,
Yeah.
right? Um, it can be so challenging to know exactly what to believe in order to take care of ourselves in the best way. But that's why I would really encourage people to go inward.
Mm,
How do I feel my best?
mm-hmm.
How do I take care of myself in a way that feels good to me and is sustainable and is realistic for my life? You know, something I talk to my clients about, there's lots of things that we introduce. I have 7 pillars of my program, and I imagine we don't have time to go over all of them here. But one is joyful eating.
Mm,
Because you know how it feels to be on a restrictive diet where it's like you only get lean protein and bland vegetables and, maybe some carbs, but only these very specific ones, or maybe you don't get any at all. Like that is doable and that for a certain period of time, I should say. It's doable for a certain period of time, but for me anyway, and I think for a lot of people who are attracted to my work, there's always a moment where the dam breaks, where it's like, I can only sustain that for so long, and then I have a stressful day, or my kid has one tantrum too many, or all my friends are going out to dinner, and I don't want to be like the odd man out with the dry fish and the sad vegetables. So there's always this moment where the dam breaks, and then that pendulum swings so far in the other direction, at least it always did for me, where now I'm eating everything, and it's
mhm.
just challenging. And I think that's one of the reasons that those really restrictive diets fail us. So I have my clients embrace a concept I call joyful eating, which is not like pizza and burgers all the time. It's finding this really beautiful balance of like what feels good in my body. And I'm going to focus on that most of the time, but I'm going to put it down sometimes. Like last night, I ordered a pizza. And I
Mm,
honestly think that decision was like the quote unquote healthiest decision I could have made because I'm having a week. I have a lot of stuff going on. I'm very overcommitted. Work is crazy, kid stuff. And last night at around like 7 p.m., I was like, I can't do one more thing. I had
mhm,
this healthy meal planned, but it was like the stress of that, right? The chopping, the cooking, like it would have pushed me over the edge. Ordering that pizza and just starting when I was hungry and stopping when I was satisfied, that was actually a really healthy choice for me because it didn't stress me out further.
Mm.
If I ate pizza every day, would I feel amazing in my body? Probably not, right? So then I can just get right back to like, I'm going to incorporate some vegetables tomorrow. But
I love that. And it makes me think about paradoxes. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Where it's like we're not saying, and also the Greek saying everything in moderation, even moderation,
yeah,
right? Like we're not saying pizza all the time, but
right.
coming back to the healthiest thing in this moment is not to ask anything more of myself, but to order
Exactly.
pizza, right?
Yeah,
Like that too is part of our cultural healing of like really hearing the truth behind the truth behind the truth,
yeah.
which is
And
that you're here to take care of yourself.
yeah, and I think a lot of weight loss advice would be like, okay, you're getting takeout, but you can get a poke bowl or you can get something. But then it's like, well, my kid wouldn't have eaten that. And it's like, what is easiest in the moment? And then it's not like giving up and we're having this unhealthy meal, so let's eat 4 pieces of pizza and whatever. You're still listening to your body.
Totally.
Like that's where the balance comes in. Let me make sure I
Mm-hmm.
actually start eating this when I'm physically hungry, and I'll pay attention as I'm eating.
Mm-hmm.
And your body will give you a signal that says, that's enough, right?
Yeah.
My physical needs have been met here. I'm sated. And then
So
you stop
good.
at that point, and then pizza gets to be part of your quote unquote weight loss plan, you know?
And it's joyful, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like cracking up because it's like my husband and I for our wedding, we had pizza and sushi. You know
I
why?
love it.
Those are the two things that bring us the most joy. Like we had like a pizza, make your own pizza thing, and then we had sushi rolls. It was like it was so obvious to us that we wanted to keep it simple and we wanted people to be able to come and go and not have a big sit down. Like that I think really activating those emotions. And something we talked about earlier is emotional resilience. And
Hmm.
so often, and we haven't touched on this one, but I'd love your take on it. There's this idea of toxic positivity, right?
Hmm.
Which is like happy, happy, joy, joy all the time. You can do this. Come on, come on, come on. And it's like at a certain point, that becomes overwhelming,
Totally.
because you're gonna have days like I'm sick today. You know what I mean? I'm feeling a lot better, by the way, than I was Tuesday. But yesterday I had no voice, and I was like, oh, I don't feel good. I'm gonna have to rearrange some of my interviews. So I feel like it's really something people forget to feel the range. It's
Oh,
just
yeah.
feeling the range of hunger and those cues in your body without a punishment, but just like a reality of you're gonna have days where it is sad. Like the
Oh,
funeral,
yeah.
the death, it's sad. Someone actually did die, right?
Right.
How do you support people in that emotional resilience when it's not joyful eating? It
Yeah.
might be some other feeling.
Yeah. This is such a good point, Kat, because a lot of the mindset coaching, and I use this tool with my clients as well. It's like, okay, we have thoughts, and our thoughts influence our feelings, and our feelings drive our actions. And that's a beautiful thing that it's so important to be aware of that. Like, how am I thinking about this? Is that affecting my feelings? And is that changing the way I show up in the world? Huge. That concept changed my life.
Yeah.
And also, it can be misused because
Yeah.
sometimes we're like, oh, if I could just change my thought and feel better, then I never have to feel bad, right? But that's denying our feelings. That's just like thought switching, or as you said, toxic positivity, rather than getting cozy with our feelings, like building that capacity to feel the broad range of human emotion.
Yeah.
Because we're humans, we're not robots. We're never going to thought work our way or emotionally deny our way out of sadness or boredom or loneliness. And it's my belief that we shouldn't.
Right.
But this is something that we do to ourselves too with overeating. We're like, I can't feel sad, so I need to just have a pint of ice cream. But it's like, well, what if we could just be there with our sadness?
Mm,
What if we could build the capacity and the tolerance to feel that and know that we're going to survive it? All emotions come and go. What if we just acknowledge it and feel it and allow it to be there? Also, exploring it, asking, like, what's coming up for me? What's bringing this sadness here? Because a lot of times when we're just denying, 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 or covering it up with food, we're not addressing things that maybe need to change in our lives, right?
yeah.
So I always think about feelings as messengers.
Mm,
Feelings are so important. There's information in that sadness or that boredom or that loneliness for me. And if I'm just eating to escape it or cover it up, I'm not getting that message. And that
mm,
message is there for a reason. So that's part of what we do in that emotional resilience work is like, I want to feel all the things. I want to have the broad range of human emotions. And when I allow that, then I learn something about myself, right? Or I learn something about my circumstances. All emotions are useful.
oh, so powerful. And I'm thinking, there's a message in it, like,
Yeah,
don't shoot the messenger. You know what I
right.
mean?
Or
Like,
ignore the messenger.
right?
Yeah.
Open the door, welcome them in. It's like Rumi's guest house, each one, like find a place for them,
Yes.
right? Because
Yeah.
what we resist persists.
100%. Like
So,
coming,
go
yeah,
ahead.
coming back to that story about my son, I was spending all the whole day in overwhelm,
Yeah.
but not really feeling it, right? Like just going through the motions, getting things done all day long. And then at night, when I actually had space to be with it, then I was eating to cover it up, to escape
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
But what I learned, it's kind of these two things, right? When I opened up to it and I started doing this emotional resilience work, one, I learned I could feel overwhelmed and not die, right? Like
Mhm.
sometimes we think if we open up to the sadness, we're just going to cry for the rest of our lives or it's going to consume us. And for me, when I opened up to the overwhelm, it's like, okay, these are sensations in my body. Here's how it feels. I can be here with it and survive it. That was huge.
Yeah.
And then that second piece is like, what is it trying to tell me? For
Yeah.
me in the moment is like, okay, this is a hard moment in motherhood. Why am I doing it all on my own?
Mm.
Why am I not taking breaks? Why am I not asking for help? Why am I not maybe seeking preschool or something, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And there was also that piece in there about like, okay, I thought being a stay-at-home mom was going to be the most wonderful, joyful experience. And in so many ways it was, but I missed working. I
Mm.
missed using my brain in that way. If I just ate to cover up that overwhelm, I wouldn't have learned any of that. And so, yeah, when I say emotions are useful, emotions are messengers, there's so much value in them when we are able and willing to open up to them.
Yeah. And hear the message. Like so often I think your mess is your message. Like it's coming through that, but we can't even talk about it, especially if we're in that state of complete overwhelm, full on fight or flight, like
Yeah,
there's just we can't even sit down. You know what I
right.
mean? To feel it. We just numb it. Next thing, gotta, dishes, da 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 da,
Yeah.
like and I think that there is a grief around motherhood that we often don't take a moment to recognize along with this incredible joy,
Mhm.
because everything has changed, right? And going back to that purpose that so many women are coming through, and this is part of why I love podcasting so much,
Yeah.
and coaching. How can I have the business of my dreams and let that be part of this dream of motherhood too, and be flexible, right? And what a gift it is. Anyways, you are such a gift. I love this work that you're putting into this space. It is so needed. And, you know, a lot of our listeners are horse people, and
Mhm.
that's their adventure, right? Like they want to be on horses, they want to be around horses, they want to learn more about the co-regulation possible for your nervous system connecting with the horse just on the
Yeah.
ground, right? All these things. And yet, when it comes to getting on a horse, a lot of people are struggling to get into Wonderland
Mm.
because there are different insurance liability issues where they might be, over 200 pounds. And,
Right.
it's really interesting. And I know because I have my liability, and you have to sign off on not having riders over a certain weight. And so I
Mhm.
would love to hear if someone wants to work with you. I know you have this really fun offer right now, the $12 in 12 days. Can
Yeah.
you just tell us what's your invitation for them to find you or
Yeah.
me, because I just love your work, and what you're putting out right now is so needed. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kat. It's my absolute pleasure. Um, can I say one thing to those listeners out there who are struggling to get into Wonderland, I would just love to share a tool with
Yeah,
them.
please.
So we've kind of danced around the subject of body connection and waiting for hunger and stopping it enough. I just want to say a little bit more about that because you can lose significant amounts of weight without having to diet, without having to restrict calories, just by learning how to listen to your body. So
Mm,
this is one of the first places I go with clients is like, okay, let's explore what actual hunger feels like for you because sometimes we've just been like mindlessly snacking through the day. We don't even let ourselves get hungry.
yeah.
Or sometimes, and I probably see this even more commonly, is we push our hunger and we deny our hunger and we ignore it. And then we end up in that state of like ravenous,
Yeah. Yeah.
hangry. And
Hmm.
then, as almost like a compensatory response, your body is like, eat, 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 right? And then
Sure.
we're way overeating. So, the first thing I teach my clients to do is start eating when what I call pleasantly hungry,
Mm,
which is not hungry, right? It's not like neutral or I'm fine, I don't need fit food physically. You're definitely physically hungry, but it feels pleasant. You're like eager to eat, you're ready to eat. You're not yet at that place of ravenous,
yeah.
panicky, shaky, hangry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
as we said, it's so hard to eat with control when you start from that place. So wait for physical hunger before starting a meal, but don't push it too far that you're out of control when you start eating. That's step
Mm,
number one. And then step number two is to try your best to be mindful while eating. Slow down, maybe put the fork down here and there, maybe take a couple sips of water. Just slow it down so that you can pay attention to your body as you're eating. Your body's going to give you a signal of like, okay, I'm not as hungry as I was when I started. Now I'm feeling a little bit more neutral, but I'm not ready to stop quite yet.
hmm.
I'm almost there. Or maybe you're starting to question. And then there's a point where and I sometimes describe this as like 80% full. You're not like full to the point where you feel heavy and weighed down, like you have a cannonball in your stomach. You feel light, you feel energetic, but your physical needs have been met. As I said, you're sated. So
Yeah.
the more you can slow down, the easier it is to identify that place. If you practice those two things, waiting for hunger and stopping at just satisfied, you don't even have to do it perfectly. If you just practice it, you will start to lose weight and you don't have to count a bunch of calories and you can order pizza when you're stressed out, right? All of that becomes so much easier when you learn how to listen to your body. So I would love for people to start there if they are struggling to get to under 200 pounds so that they can do this beautiful, joyful activity of connecting with horses and riding and all of that. And for anyone listening who wants to learn more about that or learn more about joyful eating or emotional resilience around food or making fewer impulsive decisions, I have an offer that I just launched that I'm so excited about. It's a 12-day challenge. It is a screaming deal. It's 12 bucks. And every morning, it starts the day you sign up. Every morning, you get an email with a really short but powerful video lesson from me just teaching you these skills more in depth. They're giving you a daily focus or a skill to work on. It really helps to internalize some of the concepts that we've been talking about today. And there's journal prompts in there for people who love to journal or just like questions to ponder to get to know yourself deeper, to uncover some of the obstacles in between you and weight loss. Because that body connection is a big piece of it, what I just described. But then it's like, okay, when does that feel hard?
Mm,
Does it feel hard at night after my kids have gone to bed? Does it feel hard when my boss is rude to me? Does it feel hard when the food just tastes really good? We're going to have our own individual challenges, and we go deeper on uncovering those and solving for them in that challenge as well.
so good. I feel like we're going to drop this interview a week from today, next
Okay.
Friday, and the following Monday would be a really fun time for everybody listening to join this 12-day challenge, and do it together because I feel like when you join with a group or a buddy, it's always more fun with a friend.
For sure.
The
Yeah.
two of you could get in for 24 bucks, you guys. You definitely want to check this out. So thank you for making such a juicy offer. Can you also tell us, and we'll have all this stuff in the show notes too, but
Beautiful.
where can people find you? What's your handle? What's your website? How do you want
Yeah.
people to follow along?
So the challenge, and I love that you'll put links and all of this in the show notes. The challenge and really all information about coaching with me can be found on my website. It's kimberlyseversoncoaching.com. And also, I have a podcast called Weight Loss Doesn't Have to Suck that is available on all platforms. It's also a really good way to learn more about all the things we've been talking about. I think I'm 117 episodes in, so there's a lot of really good information on there as well.
So good. Well, thank you so much for the work you're doing, for the reminder. It's just such a rally cry that weight loss doesn't have to suck. And maybe as a follow-up, you might have already done an episode, weight loss can be joyful. Like,
Yes.
hello.
Hello. Yeah, and that's a really good point because before I found these methods that I now have shaped and made my own and I teach my clients, before I found all of this, I thought it was just diet restrictively, make yourself miserable, just turn over your life to counting calories and food prep or counting points or restriction or all of it. I thought it was either that or just give up and accept the
Yeah.
body I have now. And honestly, that's such a better place to land, right? I am always gonna vote for self-love and acceptance. But I love to share and I love to introduce people to the concept that there's this middle ground between those two, where you get to live in a body that feels like home to you. You get to lose the weight you want to lose, and you don't have to be miserable doing it. So the more women I can introduce that to, the better.
Oh my gosh, so good. A body that feels like home. And I'm just gonna throw in there for those thinking about their adventure. How about an adventure that feels like home?
Yeah, because it
Right
is an
there.
adventure.
It is.
You
Always.
know, to lose weight where you could kind of eat what you want. You don't have to stress out about food. You don't have to make yourself miserable. It's a really fun way to lose weight, if I can say that.
And be deeply present
Yeah,
to the experience of losing weight itself.
100%. Yeah, because I was overeating so much before I lost weight this way, and I wasn't even clocking it. I was so disconnected from my body. I always think about there's this one restaurant that has like a giant burrito, and I would go get that burrito and I would eat the whole thing. And if I did that today, I would be so uncomfortable because I'm
Mm,
so tuned in to how much food is enough versus how much food is too much.
hmm
But before I learned how to pay any attention at all to my body, I would just eat it, not pay attention, move on with my day. And now I'm so connected that I'm like, I never want to feel that grossly full ever again. That's not how I take care of myself.
hmm
I still get the burrito, but stopping it just enough, I get to enjoy food still and maintain this weight. I've maintained this 40-pound weight loss for 6+ years now,
Awesome.
but it's through taking care of yourself, as we've been saying, not through punishment, restriction, deprivation, all those things.
Yeah. And just deeply listening
Yeah,
to your body.
which everyone deserves.
So good. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, so good. All right. Thank you so much, Kimberly. You are such a gift. I really appreciate you sharing your message and I mean, the incredible messenger that you are. I just feel so touched. So, thank you, listeners. We will be back next week. And remember, weight loss doesn't have to suck, it can be joyful. Till next time, hats off to you.